Greetings from Cape Town, the third installment of the Aesthetic versus Athletic series. We are in Cape Town, down here for a competition, and we're shooting the video out here. Today we are discussing flexibility, the importance of flexibility. Flexibility is important because if you remember back to series episode 1, when I drew those amazing artworks for you, the way that the muscle fibers will slide over each other. If you don't stretch post-exercise, you won't allow that natural resting length of your muscle to happen again. So your muscle will continually ball in on it. If you remember those little heads, the little myosin heads, the way that they attach to the actin to cause the sliding motion so that we can do movement. If you've got the muscles in, bunched all together, the fibers all around each other, it's harder for the heads to grab onto actin filaments, and thus it decreases the amount of force generation you can get when you're performing any kind of exercise, be it body weight or with external resistance like kettlebells or barbells. So therefore, stretching after a workout is gonna help you reset the correct muscle length to make you more efficient. That's after a workout. If you want to improve your flexibility even more, you're gonna have to then take up a detailed flexibility stretching regimen so that you can actually improve. Stretching teaches your body things. You, again, like I've been saying, you have to teach your body what you want from it. It will eventually figure it out and it will give you the results that you are looking for. You can't just think about doing an Olympic lift without showing your body the movement. We didn't just do that when we started learning to drive a car. We certainly can't do that now when we're doing exercise. The other thing we've got to think about is pain. Mild discomfort is what you're looking for flexibility. You do not need to be in the Jean-Claude Van Damme chair splits or follow what rhythmic gymnasts do for the Olympics. If that is your chosen discipline, great. You then need that functional range of movement. But if you're just Joe Public, normal guy, girl on the street, your functional range of motion may be to be able to be active with your children, to bend and stretch, to stand up and sit down and those kind of things. You do not need the flexibility to put your leg behind your ear. While that looks cool, it's actually not required for you. So it all depends on how you're gonna approach your flexibility training. So what we're gonna go into now is we're gonna discuss the proprioceptors in the muscles. You have the muscle spindle, which is deep within a muscle fiber, a muscle tissue. So if I take my hamstring, for instance, within the fibers, right in the middle, there is a muscle fiber with a nerve wrapped around it. That forms the muscle spindle. That is in communication with the central nervous system. It communicates the amount of stretch being experienced by that muscle group. That stretch will then tell the central nervous system what is going on, and the central nervous system, located in your spine, will then communicate with the extrafusal, the outer muscle fibers, to perform a certain action. So if we are squatting, it's going to give us a stretch reflex, and the extrafusal fibers will then either lengthen to allow us to lower ourselves into a squat under control, or it will allow us to explosively stand up to complete the squat. It's all down to what kind of signal we're sending. If we focus on things like ballistic stretching, where we hold a stretch and we bounce into it, all we're doing is continually sending that signal back to the central nervous system, and it will continually keep getting the extrafusal outer muscle fibers to do something that we really don't want it to do, and that is where slight muscle tears and injury like that can occur. That is why when you're going to start stretching, you're going to start working out, you want to form a dynamic movement pattern. If I can explain, we're going to do a leg swing. Generally, you need something to hold on to, depending on your balance, but you want to swing your leg back and forth. It's not about gaining height. It's not the Moulin Rouge, it's not a can-can dance. You are taking the leg through a range of motion. Dynamically, I'm not bouncing it, I'm slowly increasing the height of my leg. You can also do that with the leg swing to the side, like that. Also working your balance as I'm falling over. You can do other great things like adopting a long stance. Here, with your hands on the inside of your feet. If I do it from the front, I'm there. The back leg is straight, the heel is pushing away, and then I'm pushing this knee out. That's giving me a lot of pull and torque through this hip joint area. I'm then going to take my elbow and I'm going to go down to the instep, and then I'm going to roll around into what is called a heaven and earth stretch. You can do this walking or you can do it stationary. From the side, there, long back leg, heel there. Nice erect chest posture, elbow down here. You want to get that elbow as close to the ground as possible, and then roll it around, nice there. You want to push this hip into the ground as you roll it around. Those are also, you can then just do things like body weight squats. If you're doing squats, working through the squat range of motion is a dynamic way of warming up so that you can then handle barbell resistance, kettlebell resistance. Later on, you're going to then encounter, when you're trying to increase your stretch, you're going to encounter a proprioceptor called the Golgi tendon organ. In the name it says tendon, that is where it's found. The best place that we have experienced this is the back of the hamstring. When we're trying to stretch our hamstring out, we get that searing pain right at the back of the knee. That's basically the Golgi tendon organ communicating the stretch experienced by the tendon at the back of the knee. And this is where your calf crosses, this is where your hamstring group cross. There's a lot of things going on at the back of the knee, and your body wants to save you and it doesn't want you to rip your leg apart. Hence, it's going to stop you by providing you with some pain. The best way, humans respond to pain. Your body knows this. That's why it's mild discomfort. If we go into a hamstring stretch, just to improve our hamstring flexibility, we're going to go with a figure 4 stretch. We're going to take a leg straight up, and we're going to take this other foot and we're going to tuck it in. The big problem is here, people will sit with their hips off this direction. That's not great because we're not really stretching all 3 heads of the hamstring. 2 come up the inside and 1 comes up the outside. So we want to make sure that we square everything up. From here, it's about posture. Pulling the toes towards the shin and posture. I can grab my toes, fantastic, but my posture here is really not great. Rather, have a upright posture and lead with your chest. If you've got a logo on your training shirt or a pendant or something, lead with that, with a good upright back. If you can't grab your toes, don't fixate on it. Grab around the ankle, take the other hand and also cross it. So that's really helping to square you up so you can get a good stretch out of this. Now with your leg straight, the back of the knee is going to burn. That is the Golgi tendon organ. The problem with that is, this is what prevents us from stretching because the pain is too much. Relative pain. Take it to where you can take it. Hold it for as long as you can hold it. Yes, holding a stretch for 30 to 45 seconds is beneficial, but can you hold it for that long? Probably not. Probably yes. It's up to you. 10 seconds is better than no seconds. I'm quite comfortably grabbing my foot because I've been practicing this for decades. So this is your position here, nice and erect. The next thing we need to talk about is knee problems. Runner's knee is because there is your fine piece of meaty ass over here. You have a band that sits around this area and runs down the side of the leg and attaches to this knee knobbly bit here. That's scientific, by the way. This then goes back and forth the whole area as you walk around. All of us doing running and walking and that kind of stuff, we create tension in the glute. The glute muscle becomes tighter. With the subsequent tightening of this glute muscle, the band tightens. The tighter the band goes, the more friction is developed over the knee and we get knee pain there. So there are other ways of doing this, but we can adopt yoga position known as the pigeon. To sit up in this, and anyone can do this, you're kneeling, we're going to take the left leg and we're going to cross it across the front. And we're going to put the hands in the middle, right there. We keep this up. You've noticed that my foot shot back a little bit because I'm a man and I'm inflexible, but I'm trying. You want to push back with the leg. If we go from the side, I've set up here. Now I'm going to apply the stretch with the back leg there, and I'm going to keep a nice upright posture. I don't want to be sitting off to one side like that. There's no tension being generated. here's where it is, and you want to sit there and you want to drop your weight evenly down the middle. And that's going to really stretch into your glute. Now the fun bit is you hold this for a little bit. Then you're going to walk your hands either side of the knee, so the knee is directly in front. And you're not just going to flop your body down. You're going to keep a nice long torso. And then you're going to lie down on the leg, but with a long torso, and you're just going to sit into it. It's now going to be getting you around the top of the bum. This is called the piriformis. And it's one muscle that is really a problem causer if it gets too tight because it limits range of motion. So we're going to end off there, and I'm going over to the seawall to demonstrate 2 other exercises. Thank you. So we're at the seawall, the dulcet sound of the waves crashing, how romantic. We're talking about quadriceps down the front. What we need to do, the usual one, grab the toes, laces, and then we bringing it in. Everyone kind of just sort of sits here and they don't really actually get the stretch. Stabilizing leg needs to be soft. You don't want it locked up there. You're going to start annoying the knee joint. You're going to start annoying that cartilage. You've got a good grip here. You want to bring your legs in. As you can see, I'm making good use of this base support because I can't stand. Over here, knees together, and then when you're stretching, you're feeling the love. You want to then push that hip forwards and really get into it, and all the way down that quadricep there, and then slowly release. Calves are a big problem. 99% of the activities we do, we've got bent legs. The main calf that we can see crosses the knee joint and attaches onto the heel joint, therefore will the heel. Therefore, to stretch and work it, we've got to have a straight leg. But we don't run around with perfectly straight legs. We're bent. That brings in the muscle group that's underneath called the soleus. It attaches to the back of the shin bone and then also down onto the heel bone. So we've got to actually stretch both of those, or else we've got a problem because one is getting more workout than the other one, and imbalances cause injury. A nice way to do this: find something upright that you can grab nicely. Nice, I've got a nice pillar here and I've got some bars. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to put my heel as close as I can to the upright object. And then what I want to do is hold with both hands. Obviously I'm kind of rodeo riding because I'm standing talking to you. Hip. Push the hip straight up into the motion. You want to get that hip drive there. That's going to really torque in on that calf muscle. Once we've got that straight going, we want to then bend the knee slightly, sit into it a bit, and we want to take that knee straight towards that object there, and you want to sit there with a bent leg. That is going to help you stretch your soleus. Okay, so we've run through some stretches, some dynamic stretches and some static stretches. The purpose of this video was to just get you to look at stretching differently. In your warm-up, use dynamic stretching. When you cool down after your workout, use static stretching. Static stretching used in a warm-up, yes, will increase some range of motion, but it decreases the amount of power that you will have available when trying to manipulate resistance, either barbells, kettlebells, or yourself. So take it to where pain allows you to. Try and do a little bit each day. You do not have to spend hours and hours on this. Every little bit helps. Make it part of your life. Integrate it, make sustainable changes, and increase your performance. From Cape Town, see you next time.